AITA for refusing to be a kidney donor for my brother? This is a throwaway account just in case, since a few of my relatives know my real account. Forgive the long post, but I think it's best to give some background. I, 32F, am a savior sibling. Basically, I was made to be used as spare parts for my eldest brother, Drew, 37M. I have another brother, Mark, who is 34, who was supposed to be the savior sibling, but due health reasons, he was not a viable donor. They ignored him most of his life. Drew was 2 years old when he was diagnosed with brain cancer. It was devastating, and finding a bone marrow donor was not going well. After a few months, they decided to have a child to get the bone marrow. That's where my second brother came. As I said previously, he was not viable due to his health, which turned into my parents having a third child, me. I became the savior sibling, starting with my umbilical cord. Then bone marrow donation since I was a toddler. If you've seen My Sister's Keeper, it was pretty similar situation, albeit in Spanish. I spent most of my early childhood just being exhausted. I couldn't go to kinder and early school with other children because from the donations my health was affected. My diet was tailored to be at my best state for the next donation. Around the time Drew was 14, he was declared cancer-free. There was never any acknowledgement of me donating parts of my body since birth so he could live. Only a big party and him being called a miracle by the whole family. Before, when he was sick, I didn't interact much with Drew. He was either at the hospital or in the only air-conditioned room, with his own TV and the latest game console available. He never really tried to form a relationship with either me or our other brother. Healthy Drew was a nightmare. He treated me like his personal maid, bullied our other brother, constantly hit us, push us, insult us. Think the most stereotypical bully, and he was pretty much that. Our parents didn't really care. He was the center of their world and the rest of us an afterthought. Whatever he wanted, he got. Whatever the rest of us needed, we had to figure out how to make do. Mark pretty much took the role of raising me. He started working at 15 and using what little he made so I could go on school field trips, have snacks, and he always got me a present for Christmas. That was my only present for many years. Our parents also didn't help with university, so we both made do with a local university. They were too busy paying for Drew to travel and party to even help without books. Eventually we both got hired overseas. I lived in the US for a few years and now I live in Spain and work as a police officer. Mark lives in Netherlands and is also in law enforcement. Our parents and Drew remain in South America. My parents call maybe once a year during my birthday. I had no contact with Drew for about a decade. Mark and I visit each other constantly and I talk to him almost every day. That was our normal and we all were happy with it. Until about 3 weeks ago. I got a rare off-season call from my parents. They don't call for holidays, so this meant an emergency. I answered and my mother was crying since the moment I started the call. She told me they were at the hospital after Drew fainted during one of his many trips. Turns out all his partying and vices caught up to him and he's gone into renal failure. He's currently on dialysis, but my old hospital records were still with my parents and it said I was a match for him to be a kidney donor. My mom told me I needed to be there in 5 days for the surgery. She didn't ask, just told me, like when I was 4 and I cried that I didn't want to be poked and prodded, but she still told me to deal with it. I said no. Only no. She was stunned for only a minute or so before she started cursing me and telling me this is what I was made for. I just asked her to say it louder now that I had her in speaker so my whole station could hear her. That was a lie, but I knew the idea of people hearing her would make her stop. She cussed me out and ended the call. From then I've received multiple phone messages, emails, and even written mail from relatives telling me how disappointed they are of me. Some cursing me, and I mean it in the literal sense, and a few threats, legal and otherwise. I just delete and throw them away, since I am not really concerned. The issue is, from what I heard, Drew is getting worse really fast and a part of me does feel guilty. A friend of mine who did go through with a kidney donation knows of what's going on and asked me if I could live knowing I let my brother die. I said yes, but at the same time I know that's a lie. The more logical part of me constantly reminds me I am not responsible. He is from his bad decisions, but the emotional part that has been basically molded from years of being a spare parts child screams for me to book a ticket and head back. So, in the interest of perspective, AITA for refusing to donate to him? Edit to clear something out, surgery would not have been in 5 days I arrive. I wrote it to keep it short, but there's a lot of testing involved. 5 days is when the process, which is testing, health checks, etc., would begin. For/Deck/2025. Hey everyone, I'm just doing a quick update to say I have reiterated that I won't be returning to do any donations. This seriously got bigger than I thought, and I want to thank all the people that made me feel confident of my choice. You are right that even taking out the abuse, giving a kidney would be detrimental to my health and safety. It's pretty late where I am, so I won't do too many details. Nothing dramatic has happened either. I just wanted to let everyone know there won't be any organ donations on my part. I also saw some health-related questions regarding my brother's cancer and the treatments we were subjected. When I have more time between work and life, I'll update in more detail. The only thing I want to point out, I do not know all the details of his cancer. I was a small child when it happened, and after he healed, my parents didn't really interact with me beyond the bare minimum. We didn't talk about health matter. Mark actually is the only reason I got all my vaccines on time, if that gives an idea of the kind of care I received after Drew healed. I left at 18 with only my important documents. I didn't take my health records. Some people might be curious about these things, but I just wanted to leave as fast as I could. And finally I got a message about, well, CPS would have been involved. CPS is an American organization for the welfare of children in American soil. I was not born in the US, so I'm not a citizen. My English skills were a requirement for college, and I continued to learn since speaking multiple languages helps with my career prospects.